Welcome back, beautiful humans. Today's episode is called Breasties Under 40, The Realities Beyond the Pink. This one taps into the deeper truths of survivorship, the parts that don't always make it into the pink ribbon campaigns or the glossy awareness brochures. I'm joined by three incredible women, Alix, Rachel, and Jess, fellow breasties I met through the Breast Care WA support group. Together, we're jokingly called ourselves the Shitty Titty Committee, united by diagnosis alone, but by the shared experience of facing our own mortality before 40. And some way, we still find a way to make lemonade of it all. The stories and perspectives shared today are deeply personal and unique to each of us. We're not medical professionals, and nothing shared here replaces medical advice. We're simply mothers and women who've lived beyond the linearity of the textbooks, learning through the mess, resilience, and a lot of unexpected grace. This is our honest conversation about what it's really like to navigate diagnosis, treatment, and life after, beyond the pink and beyond the pamphlets. Let's begin. Ladies, thank you for stopping by. Perspectives by Mary, episode 2. So exciting. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Jess.
Yes.
Alix, Rachel. Just a few members of the, colloquially known Shitty Titty Committee. That is the Breasties Club. Thank you so much for stopping by. All I wanted to do was to hold reverence for Breast Cancer Awareness Month my way or our way. And I think, obviously we've all kind of bonded, having known each other from the Breast Care WA support group or connections from then on, because we kind of don't fit the full mold, I suppose, of what, a breast cancer survivor or someone who's doing the therapy should be. We laugh inappropriately, we make rude jokes, we, have the darkest sense of humor, and I just found that super refreshing, which is obviously why I've invited you here today. So I guess I'm going to do around the table, and where's the best place to start? The very beginning, of course. Rach, maybe if you want to go first. So how old were you when something didn't feel right?
Yeah, so I was 33 and no, in fact, that's a lie. I was actually 32. So it was December 2022 and I felt a really small lump just on my left breast and it was literally in the shower. So, just like, I'm not big chested anyway, but I was and I thought, ooh, there's something there, but not enough to make me super nervous. It was just like a little something. And then I just said to my mum, who was actually visiting from Scotland, she was like, should we go to the beach? And I said, oh, before that, I just want to let you know I felt something. And she actually couldn't feel it. But she was like, look, we're here. We'll look after your little one. Go and get an appointment. So I did. And basically they scanned me, but said that they couldn't tell me the actual results from the first scan, but they thought that it was like hormonal. It was just, I guess, normal development in us young girls with dense boobies.
Plus also having a young one.
Exactly. They were like, oh, breastfeeding.
I was going to say, how young was...
So my little boy, Alfie, was 2.5 at that point. Yeah. So they were like, oh, it could still be like your milk glands. And then I went and got the actual results and that was basically what they said. And they said, just make sure that, are you sure you're not pregnant? Because it was quite a hormonal change. And then I went to get my bloods done and I actually was. So baby number 2 was on the way, but it didn't feel right. And then my body decided that, nope, baby number 2 is not going to stick around. So lost that baby a week later. And then I thought, you know what, I should really go and get checked again.
Yeah.
Because they'd mentioned a hormonal change. Went to get scanned on a Friday afternoon and by the Monday I was booked in for a biopsy.
It's almost like that baby was kind of like a blessing.
Yeah, I generally believe now, at the time I couldn't see it, but now I see that baby saved my life, 100%. So that was our little miracle, I guess, but decided not to be born.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it now, but at the time it was...
Of course.
It was a lot. It was very traumatic. Yeah, it was a lot. And then, I was officially diagnosed 2 weeks after my 33rd birthday.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
I know.
It's always around birthdays, isn't it? Yeah. That was mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
When was your...
So this is not my first rodeo.
Yes.
So I was 35 when I found the lump, actually thanks to my youngest daughter. She was 3. She clambered over me. We were out camping and she clambered over while I was making lunch, and, toddlers, they're just elbows everywhere, and she really gave me a good one in the boob and just started rubbing it, and it was actually quite high. And I'm like, there's something there.
Yeah.
And I've actually had 2 of my mum's sisters. One actually, her breast cancer diagnosis was done as MS to start off with.
Wow.
And then they went, it's not MS, it's actually breast cancer. And it had spread. So it was only about 6 months from the moment we found out from diagnosis till she passed away. And then I had another aunt. So I kind of was always hyper aware and that sort of stuff. So I even had Neil. I'm like, can you feel this as well? And he's like, yeah, it's like a size of a peanut, and as hard as a peanut. So anyway, Was that on your actual breast?
Yeah, left breast.
Left breast.
Yeah.
Yep. And so literally we had range. So I called my doctor, need to book an appointment to get an ultrasound. Had the ultrasound, which was with the guy that actually did my ultrasound for both the girls. He's a lovely, lovely fella. And anyway, very jovial. We're all chatting away. And then his demeanour changed. And I went, what's going on? And he's like, I want you to get a biopsy. He goes, if you were my sister, just go get a biopsy because it's going to be nothing. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like,
Famous last words to say.
isn't it just? I'm like, it's something.
Yeah.
And so, then we got the results. So I had my 36th birthday. And then, 8 days later,
Oh, gosh.
I got the results to say that it was, breast cancer. But then I had the biopsy, which that was the most traumatic experience of my whole life.
Yep.
She wanted to do the 3-core biopsy without any local. And that was actually on my birthday.
Oh.
With Neil and the girls were in the
needle. Get it. Give me some more.
Neil and the girls were in the room with me, and I was like, when are you going to do the local? She goes, she doesn't do local. She just goes in. And I was like, what the fuck? She's clearly never had one.
Yeah. And she's never had one herself.
So I wasn't great with needles to start off with. So then I just lost my shit.
I understand.
And she's like, you're shaking uncontrollably. Like, you should be laying still. I'm like, lady, and it's a 1 centimeter incision that they have to do to get the needle in. So she goes, well, because of this carry-on, you're going to have to just have fine needle. And that's not even going to tell you what type of cancer you've got. So, and she literally shoved a needle in my breast 7 times.
People like that in a profession like that.
I know. And I'm like going, look, okay, I get it. I know it's going to be cancer, but a little bit of compassion, a little bit of, that. So anyway, fast forward, then yes, we get the diagnosis. Yes, it's cancer, and we're going to have a hospital call you. Thankfully, it was Fiona Stanley. So then I go in. So that was the Monday. I go in on the Thursday because I'm actually supposed to fly out to Darwin for my sister's birthday on the Friday.
Oh, gosh.
And so on that Thursday, they're like, you have to have a core biopsy. I'm like, no fucking way.
No.
Not doing that. And they're like, well, yeah, we need to discuss that because it says you need to be sedated. And I'm like, of course I'm going to be fucking sedated. I was like, after what I've gone through, I said, I'm not doing it unless Neil's in there with me. And they're like, the room's that tiny? You can't be in there. And I went,
enough. You better
you want to make sure? And my breast care nurse at the time, she goes, look, I'll be in there with you. I won't leave your side. And I promise it won't be a bad experience. And so, look, I can even still feel it and smell that room. And anyway, so I told them the story. Even the guy that did it, he was even in tears. He's like, this is horrendous. Like, you shouldn't have to go through it. And he's like, I'm going to numb your breast. You won't feel it for 3 days. Honest to God, I did not feel it.
That's so nice.
For 3 days. He was amazing, and actually had him.
You're black and blue. Can we also talk about the fact that when you go for a biopsy, you are black and blue for weeks?
Yes. Yep. So you have this really tender breast. Yeah. And all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was me having my first diagnosis. and going that. And so then the second one came in at 41, so 5 years post, and that was found with my MRI. So because I was high risk because of family history, I was supposed to have one for the next 20 years until I was 60, MRI followed by a mammogram. So the MRI picked up 3 tumours up really high.
Same breast.
Same breast.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Same breast. And then went for the mammogram. That did not show up anything. That was clear.
That's so interesting.
So then it was, and that happened in December 23. And I'd literally only opened up my business 2 months earlier in October. And I said to Neil, I'm like, it's back. Like I can tell you now, it's back. And he's like, no, you can't. I said, no. It's, my body's telling me, I can feel it. Yeah. It's back. And so when I went in for the biopsy, which again was the same guy that did the first one. So he's like, I'm knocking it out again. But even he struggled to find it on the ultrasound. So they actually had to put little titanium markers in it. So for future references, if they could find them, to go from there. So,
but that level of intuition, right, where it's kind of like you just kind of know before you know or you can prove.
Yeah.
And so many kind of women really dismiss that, where they go, I kind of thought, but maybe not. And, so I think it's incredibly important to kind of look, I know. I don't know how I know, but I just know, and we're just going to keep on freaking getting opinions until something's not right.
Yeah, well, even when I talked to the doctor first time around, he's like, you don't need it. It's you're too young.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I hate that sentence.
You're too young, right? And I'm like, my point back to him was, okay, I may be too young, but what does all the advertisements say? For anything, go get it checked. Early detection.
That's right.
Saves lives.
Absolutely.
And I said, I've got family history. I'm like, just give me the ultrasound. And if it works out to be nothing, well, that's it. It's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think fine and dandy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that should be,
you have to be sort of vigilant. You know your body. Yeah. You know changes.
Yeah.
And don't dismiss me just because you've got a jam-packed day and I'm just,
That's literally what I say to everyone. I'm like, if they say, oh, no, you're too young, I'm like, advocate. And if they still say no, bring me with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like I won't leave there without you going for a scan or because I feel like medical professionals, like the ones that aren't good, they bully you into thinking you're being dramatic.
Yeah, over the top. Yeah.
Fascinating.
You don't know your
just a worry.
Yeah. And I guess so, Alix, how about you? So how old were you when you...
So mine's a little bit of a backstory. I was diagnosed January 2022 and I just turned 35 in December. But 6 months prior to that, my youngest daughter was 6 months old and I couldn't shake the feeling like something wasn't right. Like I felt at times like I was going crazy and I have the most amazing GP. So I'd be there all the time, like, test me for this, test me. Something wasn't right. I wasn't like, there was no symptoms, but when you just feel.
Yeah.
And there was a time, I can't exactly remember when, but I'd gone to the toilet and I literally looked down and I've never had a miscarriage or anything, but there was like tissue, like quite like almost like what I'm assuming that might be like an early loss. But I went back to the doctor and I was like, this happened, and I had taken a photo and I was showing her and I was like, just something's not right. And when I had my daughter, it was my 3rd C-section. They said to me, my bladder had fused to my C-section scar on the inside, so they had to like burn it off, or I'm not sure what the technical term is. So I was like, oh, maybe something's wrong with my bladder.
Yeah.
Every sort of scenario was running through my head, because I'd at this point had 3 little kids. My ex-husband was FIFO. So when you just like sleep deprived, but I was like, something's not right. And I think it would have been December. I was in the shower as well, felt a lump in my armpit.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, oh, that's a bit weird. At the time, I had cosmetic implants and I'd had them for about 10 years. So I thought, oh, maybe there's a rupture or something like that. So went back to my GP again, who's probably sick of seeing me. And I was like, oh, can you feel this? She's like, yeah, I'll send you for an ultrasound. let's get it checked, because if it is, then I can refer you on to someone, get the implant fixed. I went for the ultrasound, and it was a couple of days out from New Year's Eve. And I remember going in, and once they started doing the ultrasound, like you could kind of see on their faces, like, I was like, right. Oh, we're going to need to do a biopsy. So we'll call your GP, do a normal biopsy. And then they were like, we need you to come back again for a core biopsy. Yeah. So at this point, I think it was actually New Year's Eve. And so I went for the biopsy, didn't hear anything. Yeah. I think it was like the first week of January. I was at the gym. My GP called me, and it was on a Friday actually, because I remember saying to her, she was like, I need you to come in. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'll come in next week. She's like, I need you to come in now. And I was like, oh my God.
That's when you know.
Not even, I wasn't actually freaking out, but I was just like, oh, okay, I'll come now then. Went in, and I'll never forget, she was like, you have breast cancer. And I know those words are normally horrible for some people, but I actually felt an instant relief. Like I wasn't, something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And the relief just like washed over me. And she looked at me and she's like, this isn't the kind of reaction I normally get. And I said, honestly, you've seen me the last 6 months. Yeah. I have felt so crazy because I'm coming here all the time telling you something's wrong with me. Yeah. And she was like, okay, so this is the plan. She's like, do you have private health? And I was like, yep. She's like, I've already made you an appointment with one of like the best breast surgeons in Perth. She's happy to see you, like, because it's that weird time, you know, just after New Year's and Christmas and stuff. Yeah. She's like, you'll book you an appointment next week. You know, she'll see you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I remember like walking out of the doctors and I called my mum, called my dad, told them. And I don't think it really sort of set in. And at the time, my ex-husband was doing FIFO. And the site that he worked at didn't have weekend flights available. And even at this point in my life, I still remember it. I still like thought of him, and I was like, I'm not going to call him on Friday afternoon and let him know what's going on, because he worked underground, didn't have his phone for like 12 hours a day. And I thought, imagine like mentally being underground, knowing that your partner has just said, oh, I've got breast cancer.
And can't do anything.
Exactly. So I sat with her all weekend, and then on Monday morning, I hadn't really slept much anyway, but I think about 5 o'clock in the morning, I knew he was coming out of the hole. So I was like, I'll call him, tell him then, and then it's up to him if he wants to come home. Like, obviously, make your own decision. Yeah. So yeah, he flew home, and his parents picked him up from the airport, and I remember him walking into the house, and he was like, my parents said that you're probably going to die.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, that hadn't even crossed my mind.
Wow.
I don't know if like, you know how when you're still just processing and you're like, to be honest, there's probably only one time where I thought I might die. Not even from just like the cancer itself, but like, I feel like when you have cancer, that's not something that's, you're thinking in your mind, like, how am I going to fight this?
Yeah,
how am I going to beat it?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Not, oh, I'm just going to lay down and die. Yeah. Like, pretty much. I would never do that.
Or it's not necessarily the thinking you're dying. It's who I'm leaving behind.
100%.
Yes.
And I guess, you know, we are all mums. So I think, you know, the scariest thing is
your children.
Yeah. You're kind of going, oh, wow. And, you know, it's so funny you're saying about how you thought of him and like his feelings and how he would. So I'm going to put myself back. And it's like, even, you know, in this insane primal state, we're still kind of trying to think of, oh, somebody else, right? I mean, similar to yourself, I found out, when was it? 34. I was 34, March 34, and my birthday was going to be in April, early April.
What is it with birthday?
It's like, this is the greatest way to ring in your birthday. Like, woohoo, what a year.
And I was working a FIFO job at the time as a truckie, and I'd felt this lump, and I kind of went, okay. The roads had been, because I was driving trucks and the roads had been pretty rough. We were low on grader operators. And I thought, maybe it's just from all the, jiggling and everything. And being a mum as well, I thought, it's probably just like a blocked cyst or blocked duct. And when I went to my GP finally, after it had changed, a bit of a month, I put it off. I was like, that's probably nothing. But then it started changing. I'm like, it's a bit odd. And then during night shift, I turned over and I felt there was a sharp pain in my underarm. And that was a lump too. And I thought, oh, crap. Okay, I should probably really get this looked at. But same thing. She was like, look, I'll feel it. I'll send you for an ultrasound. It's probably nothing. You're too young.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an outlier in that I don't know my family history because I'm adopted from birth. So, she's like, do you have a family history? I don't know what my medical history is, but she was like, but again, you're healthy, you're young. I'm sure it's nothing. So, as I've said in my first chapter of my book, it's like watching a car crash in slow motion when, you're literally expecting anything and everything but, hey, it's breast cancer. And you're going, wait, what?
Say that again.
No. Are you sure? Look, read the paper again. I'm Mary, not the other patient, you know? But you do. You just kind of go, whoa. Yeah. It's this kind of dissociation.
And it's like you kind of hear it, but you don't hear it.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about all the other shit and then everything else is just going through your mind. Like, I heard the words.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what he said else? I could not tell you. And all I could go was, thank God Neil was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he heard everything else. And I'm just sitting there like going, I knew it. I actually, the thing that came through my head was, I knew it was going to be, the boobs were going to be the end of me. Because out of my family, I loved my breasts. Because out of my family, I'm the baby of 4 sisters, like 4 girls. And I got the rack. The others didn't. And so, that was my like, woohoo,
Yeah.
And I just was like, you know what? I love them that much. Yeah, you guys were just
Too good to be true.
Yeah.
And it's weird that you say about that kind of like out of body experience because the only other way I can relate to that out of body is actually like in labor with my son.
Yeah.
Like literally that moment that they're about to get that head out and you're like, okay. They're like, Rachel, and you come back into the moment. It was almost like that, but obviously the emotions for each are just so polar opposite.
Yes.
Like they couldn't be more different and the experience is actually weirdly similar.
Yeah. And I guess there's a weird comfort in kind of knowing that, right? Where, we were all in different places at different stages when we all kind of got diagnosed. But I think it kind of normalizes that feeling for everyone that is to come or kind of goes, I wonder how other people kind of react and, the shock that you kind of feel and going, while you're being bombarded with all this medical jargon and what have you. And the recognition that medical professionals, this is just another job to them day in, day out, they kind of can't afford to have their humanity intact. Otherwise, they'd probably burn out. So you're literally just kind of going, I'm a human being. Can you just say that again, but with a bit of feeling?
I almost feel like they're like neurodivergent when they pass on information because it's like, we're here to fix your cancer, but anything else, we're not your person.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
We're not hugging you.
Yeah.
We're not comforting. We're not.
Do you find that so I always found when you talk to the surgeons, they're like in their little surgical room, like when you go in for the appointment, you're discussing everything, they're like deadpan. So my husband and I, we have the worst sense of humor and we'll just drop things. Like this is how we dealt with it, was just drop.
You have to.
And like the doctor's just looking at you and you're like, well, you didn't get the joke, did you? Like that was just a joke, but and I had to say when the boobs were coming off. So as I said, the blood tests, the biopsies were done in December and I made the call. I said, you know it, I know it. We all saw that blood vessel. It's cancer. I said, don't book me an appointment with my breast doctor. I said, give me the surgeon. I said, I'll be in there. We'll book a date for surgery and we'll go from there. I said, I'm not bullshitting. I don't want to then have that one and then book in another appointment. They're like, great. So I went in and saw the surgeon and so very deadpan and this is what's going to happen, yada yada yada, not a problem. So anyway, the day before we're all joking, so what's going to happen with my boobs? Like when they're gone, I'm like, Neil's like, do you reckon he can mount them? Like, do you reckon he can mount them on the wall so I can still feel them? My mum's was like, well, maybe you could get them to stitch it up and it could be like a water carrier.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, Mum, like whatever.
Wow.
And then Neil was like, well, also your surgeon, he's the last man to feel your boobs. I don't even get to feel them. So he's got to take you out for dinner. Like, really? Because I was like, yeah, cool. So anyway, when they're doing all your little drawings on it and they're always worried about your scars. Like, I find it really odd. So he was like, oh, this scar's going to be up high and this is going to be because, we'll get rid of your first scar. And I went, no, you're not. I was like, that's my story. That can stay. And I said, and I don't want asymmetrical scars. I want a nice straight one. I said, I'll be really pissed if I come out of the surgery and you've taken my other scar away. Just give me one straight line. Yeah. Like, sure? I was like, sure. And I said, and also my husband said, you owe me dinner because you're the last one to feel my boobs. And he lost it. Yeah. And I went, God, finally, we cracked. I'm like, okay, so when you're in your little zone, when you're in your actual surgical zone, he became human. And he was really great. And he's like, no, I promise I'll give you a straight scar.
Oh, no.
Well, funnily enough, I fell over the other day and outstretched his arm really quickly to support the fall. And now my scar goes up. And I went, I don't have my nice symmetrical scar anymore. I'm like, will it ever go down again? And my physio's like, no, I think it'll just always go up. So, yeah, it's kind of ironic.
I just wanted to win.
I just wanted it straight.
Straight line.
So, yeah, I mean, speaking of scars, I guess, so you go from the diagnosis into treatment. I know we all kind of had varying degree of treatments. I think, Rachel, you and I probably had the closest resembling length and type of treatment, right?
Yeah, we were quite similar, I think. Yeah.
At the same hospital.
I know.
Same length of time, which is a little tiny time, right? But, I think, so 18 months all up, our treatment plan was this year. And which I found interesting given the varying degrees of the staging. But, I think when you kind of get bombarded with here's treatment and you're going to have chemo, you're going to have surgery, you're going to have this, you need to inject yourself and turn your ovaries off and you're going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How, let's have a chat about how that kind of moment is where you've kind of had time to digest, you've gone home, you've gone, okay, I have freaking breast cancer. And now you're coming in and you're kind of going, all I want to do is just stay alive. I can't leave my children behind. I'm not quite sure what that looks like. And now you're just kind of getting bombarded with so trying to sit in and listen to everything, take it all in, but also remembering that you are also the principal person here and kind of going, hang on, let me ask some questions. Let me, how did that look like for you guys?
I think I became more assertive as things went on. When I went in there, I would say I was very much deer in headlights. I was like, you need to do everything you can to keep me alive. And it's interesting because you were saying, I never thought I would die, whereas that was the one thing that I thought. But I would also say it was because my GP at the time, who I no longer have as my GP, let's put it out there, was like, I'm sorry, I need a moment. This is the most shocking results I've had all day.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you need a moment. Yeah. Please, let me.
Literally like this.
But also, did you, I know we was just sort of diverging off that for a second, but did you find you had to comfort more people when you told them?
Everyone cried except for me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to be fine. It's okay.
Yeah, don't worry about you.
Never forget. So one of my beautiful best friends that did my hair, Sam.
Yes.
I had messaged her to let her know the news, and I was like, so I spoke to my sons and I said, at some point, Mummy's going to lose her hair. So why don't we sort of make it a bit fun? And one of you choose a haircut and one of you choose a hair color. And so we were like on Google. So Axel picked Penny from The Big Bang Theory. She cut her hair short. Yeah. So that was a haircut. And AC was like, oh, pink. And funny backstory, I actually hate pink, which is hilarious. And I was like, oh, pink. Great. So I went in to see her and I walked in the salon and it was a Sunday. She's like, I'm coming in. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
Well, I said, I'll donate like my hair to Wigs for Kids. So she cut, she's crying this whole time, tying my hair in all the lackeys, cutting it, tears running down her face. She's like, I'm just so sad. And I said, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Like, she's like, she was just speechless, really. And I think when you see, like, obviously we are all good friends now, but like I personally haven't had a close friend go through any kind of cancer diagnosis.
Or something like as traumatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like now I would know exactly how to handle it.
True.
But I think at the time, like, I remember just hugging her and she just wouldn't let me go. She's like, I just don't even know, like, so, and you know what, credit to her, tears running down her face the whole time. She gave me the best pink penny hair you've ever seen. The kids were absolutely stoked. I got home.
Love.
And they were like, we love it. And myself and the boys, Angel was still too young, we had a goodbye hair shower together where they washed my hair for the last time before I went to the salon. And I really just tried to involve them because I didn't want it to seem like I was coming across as I was hiding anything. Like, obviously, when your hair falls out, you can't really hide that.
No.
Like, and I remember after my second chemo, that's when I was standing in the bathroom, I was like running my hands through my hair, I was just coming out in clumps. And I was okay with that, but I was like, I can't just let this keep happening.
Yes.
So that's when I decided I was just going to shave it and shaved it. And it actually, I felt good after I'd shaved it, but the little spikes falling out, was so painful. No one ever talked. Yeah, my scalp was so sore.
Yeah.
It was the little spikes when they fell out. I mean, I felt fine after they'd fallen out, but I remember my kids saying to me, because their dad still just kept working away, so I would take them to school, we'd get in the car and we'd get like halfway to school and they'd be like, Mum, you didn't put your hair on. And I was like, what? And they're like, the wig. And I was like, oh. So then I had to keep a wig in the car for school pick up and drop off. I'd just like chuck it on, so that they didn't.
New normal.
I think, and even now they're like traumatized by people with shaved heads. So one of my other best friends, Danny, we were in Sydney for a hair conference and I was FaceTiming Angel and Danny had just shaved her head and Angel was like, can I say hi to Danny? And I was like, yep. And so Danny came in and he was like, hey, Angel. And Angel was like, her face just like,
oh, bless her.
She was like, Danny's sick. And I was like, no, Danny's not sick. And Danny's like, no, I just did this because I like my hair short. Yeah. And she just was not convinced. And I was like, oh my God, like how traumatic that must be for them to, when they see anyone that has
with a shaved
hair
equals sick.
Yeah. And there was a kid at Osh Club who had cut his own hair in the front. So his mum must have clipped it. And they came home, they were like, oh my goodness, this kid's got cancer. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, he's got his head shaved. And I was like, oh, well,
it's just a haircut, babe.
Maybe his mum just shaved his head. Yeah. Like, not everyone that has a shaved head has cancer. And sometimes I also feel like that's traumatizing for them, but I don't want them to also think that cancer is like the be end of all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people might have cancer. It doesn't mean anything. Like, like it's horrible, but it's not like. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
it doesn't define us.
It doesn't define that person anyway.
It's kind of like it's a chapter in a much bigger book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how we try to approach it for as long as we can do.
And I think with little kids, I'm not sure how you guys found with your like kids. It was my kids were still quite young, like 3 years ago. I remember Axel was at school and one of the girls in his class said, your mum's going to die. My nana died. Oh. And I had to like go into the school and be like, listen, obviously kids say things and that's 100% fine. But then he was so anxious and like he's always worried about, even now, like I'll go somewhere, he'll be like, what time will you be home? Are you going to be okay? Like is something wrong? Like it's
almost like a separation anxiety.
Yeah, definitely. And from being in hospital as well, I think that's like,
well, being away from our babies.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, how did you sort of meander that? Because your little one would have been...
Alix was just gone, he was almost 3 when like I was in the crux of the treatment, to be honest. I just explained to him as you would a 2.5-year-old, 3. That was age appropriate.
Yeah, definitely.
That mummy's having some treatment. Mummy has to go to hospital. Mummy has a sore boobie. Mummy's going to be okay. And I would come home but you know, the first time, because when I actually cold capped, so I tried to keep my hair, which I think,
you are the best success story for cold capping. I've got to admit that.
Yeah, what, the 5%?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So you had 60 to 70% of your hair. Like it was
even bigger. It was like 80%, I think. And it was more just like, well,
and the
Alix was my
amazing
hair
part is that, like, even when we did your first colour after you'd finished treatment, like your hair still lifted like you would think having had that much treatment, like because in your actual hair strand, it's sort of, it's like a history of like medications you've taken and all that kind of like.
tells a story.
It tells a story. Oh. And I remember when we did a test strand, I was like, please just lift. Like, this girl needs.
And I need my hair done.
Like, she's, you know, this has been a shit show time. And it lifted, and I was just like, this is going to be amazing.
Like, I can colour your hair. I was like, thank God for that. I waited such a long time. I know. So cold capping for me, I'm very grateful that it did work. I would say on the second treatment as well, I did have quite a big shed and it came from the back. But of course, that's not where the cold cap only kind of sits on the middle bit. So because I was in hospital for like 12 hours for my first treatment, my mum described my little boy like waiting at the fence, like where's mummy? I know, and was really anxious, and that just broke my heart. So I just said, it's okay, mummy's gonna come home. Mummy's gonna be a bit sick for a few days. And because he was that young, naive age, he was just like, okay.
Yeah. There's almost like that's the thing, right? It's kind of,
they don't understand.
When you're young, I feel like it's just kind of like, okay, well, I can kind of make this into a whereas my daughter was, you know, already a teenager kind of thing, and
so different.
I think that was quite hard, where I had to pick and choose how much of the journey I actually let her into, because I kind of, her first reaction, because her dad had already passed away when she was 6, you know, was like, you can't leave me as an orphan, you know, and that was immediately, that's what she kind of went to, because again, cancer is not something that exists in our sphere of at all. So, and I think I'm the first person in all of our networks, you know, hers, mine, like my close friends, my acquaintances, to ever have anything like cancer. You know, everything else was, if someone passed away, it was because of a car crash or something like that. But for her to be so cognizant and only know of what the world tells her out there of cancer, which was like cancer equals immediate death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
You know, so that was so much harder, and having to pick and choose. And, you know, she came to me, my chemo buddy, a couple of times, but she wasn't part of when I started losing my hair and everything like that, she wasn't a part of that. But my best friend was.
I was just about to say, can everyone just tell me all about their best chemo buddies / treatment buddies that came with them? Because I'd love to hear like a good story. And like how good you felt with that person, and how like they made that absolutely shitty time, you know, better for you.
Look, so you guys already know my BFF.
Yeah.
My bestie, Quincy.
Yeah.
But I am quite...
That was a name drop, by the way.
Quincy. We love him.
Yeah, we do.
His very adorable accent.
And stylish.
Yeah.
Loves a bit of dress up, you know.
His head's exploding right now.
So splee. And that lush mane.
Oh, stop.
Stop it. So obviously him, but I am quite lucky to have had a number of other really good friends who came in and did a variety of things, whether we did some, I've got a friend who does art therapy. So she'd bring in her paints and stuff and we'd kind of do that. Or I'd just have someone would sit down, have some chats about anything and everything, but what was kind of going on in the room.
She'll like, never mind the drip in my eye.
What?
That's killing my veins.
I said, please. And yeah, so I think I tried to make each and every sort of session, not every single one, but most sessions, there'd be something like, oh, today we're going to do this. And the nurses would be like, all right, how many chairs are we setting up today? What do you need some water jars again for your little painting bib, or do you need so it's nice. Yeah. And I found that.
How often were you at chemo?
I was having chemo. The Red Devil Rolls Royce of chemo was supposed to be once every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But their favorite thing, but you're young and you're healthy, so we can push it. We're going to give you 2 weeks. Every 2 years, 3 stents, right? So
less for 4 weeks.
Yeah. So the 4 weeks of that.
Too.
Yeah. And
Did you all have the same?
Yeah.
I all did.
And did you do it first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to do that.
So I didn't. I did the
Hey.
the other one.
Taxol?
That's the one.
I had that one. So
Yeah, that was second.
Paxil, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that one.
was number 2.
My oncologist at the time was like, you can have this one or this one. And I was like, which
Oh,
one's...
lucky did.
Yeah, I was like, which one's more hardcore?
Pick your own adventure.
Exactly. And she was like, technically you need, I think it was more with my one, but it was less like hardcore. And I was like, that one, because I don't want the Red Devil. And she did say, she was like, a lot of people lose their hair on Red Devil. So again, here's me trying to gain control. I was like, I don't want that red stuff. So yeah, I went for the other one.
Yeah.
So you were every 2 weeks, did you say?
I was every 2 weeks.
Okay.
The thing that spun me was how they had the oncology nurse, they had to sit with you.
Yeah, and
while it goes slowly and make sure that it doesn't get out of your that one vein that it's in.
Yeah. It can't leak because then that's...
And I'm like, is this not going around my whole body? Like, how bad is it if they have to sit there and watch? And
then
be
it's
do
like-
you want an icy pole?
And then it's like every time you go to the toilet, double flush, you can't have your clothing in the same thing. And I'm like, so then what about when my kids come and hug me? Like, what?
Oh, no, you can't be hug for those first few days.
Yeah. So it was either...
I feel like you're radioactive, right? Or something.
Yeah.
You can't share a toilet with anyone.
Yeah.
You can't, I was staying at Quinton's at the time and he was in the bathroom and happened to see the toilet and he immediately starts knocking at the door. He's like, there's red stuff. Are you bleeding? I'm like, no, my pee's just red.
Yes. Sounds so red.
Yeah.
And you see why they call it Red Devil.
Obviously did not experience that. Okay. So did people tell you that?
Yeah. Oh, they do. Yeah.
Tell you that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm hemorrhaging.
You hear so much though, right? Like you hear all of this, and we're going to put steroids on you, and you're going to have to go into menopause tomorrow. And you're like,
Tomorrow?
You're like, yes.
But like, does this process take 8 to 10 years normally? They're like, yep, but here's the needle. Put it in you, and
you'll be fine if you...
Oh, so did you have is that the gauze? So you had to have that at the same time as well?
Yeah.
Wow, no. See,
I had mine every once a month of chemo.
See, I had mine, so going through the chemo, so did the Red Devil first, then the Taxol, ended up not having to take any steroids because I was doing the fasting.
Nice.
So it's sort of how that all came about was I was just reading Fast Like a Girl because it's hormonal based and it was my second time around. So first time was just a lumpectomy and radiation. So I was kind of a bit denial, like going, people are like, are you okay? I'm like, whoa, I'm fine. Like, I'm totally okay. There's a lot of other people going through way more stuff. Like, I didn't even join a support group.
Downplay.
I was going to say, you've just said just. Yeah. I'm like, radiation. Holy crap.
Oh, I know that.
But diagnosis.
But at that time, and still at this time, I can compare the two and go, first time around, that was just a walk in the park. Yeah. Like, honestly, literally.
We say that though.
I know.
Like, but let me downplay it for you peasants.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still here. It was just this. And I'm like, I hate I catch myself saying that now, like, oh, I just had chemo or I just had this surgery.
But when you're in the throes, but as I said, because it was only a stage one, grade 1, so it was just
stage 1 is still shit compared to
I know it's shit, but like, what I had to see and witness other women endure, I actually felt,
And joint family.
I almost felt guilty. Because I'm like, I don't want to be put in this survivor thing.
I
Like,
only have a lumpectomy.
How dare you guys put this warrior survivor thing on me? Like, honestly, like, I don't deserve that title. It has to go to more women out there going through the shit show, So when the shit show happened second time around, because even when they took my breast off, both off, it wasn't just 3 little tumours. It was riddled. Like, it was 10 centimetre span everywhere.
Did you do your chemo before your surgery or otherwise?
No, I did surgery, then chemo. But like, even it went up to 0.5 of a mil to my margin.
Wow.
And then when they removed my nodes, I had 4 on this side and 3 on this side, which normally you only get one side.
Yes.
But because I developed lymphedema with the first lot of breast cancer in my left breast, so I went from a B cup to a C cup one side and a B cup the other. Like, I used to have to wear a fillet just to fill in bras and that sort of stuff. So we had to train all the lymphatic fluids to go to the right. So, you know, when they do the needle in your nipple before you go into surgery to test you where you're...
Wait, what?
So with mine, So first time around with the lumpectomy, I had to have needles in my nipples or the areola area, and then just massage it. It's just so we can get the dye and it goes into your node, so then they can trace which ones to remove.
So mine has only just...
So yes. So no. So this is a different dye. So this was for my lymphatic surgery. So I had a big patch. Oh, you can still see my patch here.
Yeah, like I remember.
So I had mine's almost gone.
Yes,
but that was because I had the lymphatic bypass.
Oh, yeah. So that's my lymphatic bypass. So there and on my
hand. And holding hands, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is holding for just
the whole time.
Such a.
So where was I? Great menopause brain. We were talking
about the dye.
Oh, yeah, so the dye. So yeah, they would inject the dye into your nipples. You'd rub it around. Then they'd see where it flows
Is this
to.
all while you're awake?
Yeah. You're awake while it's happening.
Okay, disclaimer. No, I was under when this all happened because I woke up and I was like,
no. So this had nothing to do with lymphatic bypass surgery. No, this was just to find out where the fluid drained. So when they had to remove the nodes, when they removed the lump,
they knew which ones they would
only take.
I had full node clearance on this side.
Yeah, so that didn't happen until November last year.
That was, during my mastectomy.
That's right.
Clearance.
Yeah. Generally, if it's a lower stage, and
they'll only take the nodes that
need to, and then they can tell because everyone's nodes travel differently. So they'll do that and they'll see where it travels and they'll go, okay, this one, because if it travels, that's where it's potentially going to spread to.
So my first diagnosis was stage 1, grade 1. Second diagnosis, the pathology from the core biopsy, stage 1 should be, I think it was like a grade 2 this time, and go from there. They remove the breast. We go in for the talk with the surgeon as to the results, and he goes, it's a lot worse than what we're anticipating. I was like, okay, how worse? And he's like, you are stage 3 in your breast, stage 4 in your lymph nodes. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, you've got 7 out of the 8 nodes we removed. Have it. So we have to send you off now for all these scans, all that sort of stuff. I literally went from leading into surgery going, it's stage 1. It's just going to be, remove it again, maybe some radiation, same as last time.
Just a little walk in the park.
Yeah, just another walk in a park, just another walk in a park.
But it started to say that.
Just that.
How did you feel when you were diagnosed the second time? Were you like, not again kind of shit? Or
it was kind of not again, but I kind of was.
Did you feel like it was going to be worse than the first time? Or were you kind of just thinking, okay, like I've done this like...
it's kind of like I've done it once before. Yeah. I kind of know how it rolls.
Yeah.
But I also know to be a bit more an advocate for myself.
Yeah, definitely.
So first time around, it was just like,
deer in the
like your first child, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I am trusting my life, my baby.
Yes.
You're the doctor. You're the professional.
You tell me what I need to do.
It's like people come to me to get flowers. I'll tell you what needs to be done because that's my job.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I actually pushed for a mastectomy with the first diagnosis. And they're like, oh, you're too young. That's way too aggressive. And I'm like, on this side of the table, doesn't seem really aggressive for me. I'm like, the plans for our third baby, they're no longer there. Like, we've got 2 healthy girls. Like, I said to my husband, I said, this is a hormone-based. I ain't messing with hormones and babies.
That they take that choice, like
that choice away
that
from
cancer
you.
takes that choice away from you. It's like,
But for me, that didn't bother me. All I worried about was I just need to stay alive for my girls and for Neil.
Yeah.
So I had watched one of my uncles. She wasn't a maternal aunt, but my uncle lost his wife and his girls were 3, 5 and 7. Yeah. So I was just like, Neil, I know I've seen it. You're not going to be a single dad.
Yes.
Like, that's my goal.
Yeah.
Channeling the cockroach energy.
Yeah. So so when the diagnosis came second time around, and as I said, we kind of had Christmas to process this.
what a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, well, especially when my husband nearly wanted to.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. It's like Christmas, birthdays.
So yeah, I kind of accepted it over Christmas. So even when I came in with my psychology session, because they're like, it's really bad. You need to go speak to someone. So Christine's like, so how are you going, Jess? And I went, well, you know when you don't learn your lesson your first time and life just throws it back at you, but usually a lot worse the next time around? I said, I'm just treating this, I need to learn my life lesson. So this is all it is. I said,
Had you had the mastectomy the first time?
no. So
Would it
it's
make
just I don't know. And I don't tend to sort of look back and go, would it have been different? What if?
Yeah.
At that stage, there was still not even a why me.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, why not me? I did it okay the first time around. We'll just, pull my big girl panties on and, bring it on. And when we were talking about how you feel overwhelmed with all the information, so I had the appointment with surgeon, we got all the information, and now you're handballed over to oncology.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sitting in that appointment, which I feel like it went forever. So that one, we took my sister in. She sat at the back of the room. She knew her job was don't say anything, just write notes. Or if you feel like we've glazed over something and you kind of feel like you can interject. We'll answer the questions. And so he's putting all this little information in the computer. And apparently he had said that without the chemo and all that sort of stuff, I only had a 15% chance of survival in the first 2 years.
Oh, my God.
And I went, yeah, that's fine. And Neil's looking at me and he's like, what the fuck?
Can you just hear the numbers?
Did you just not hear that? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, keep going. So what do we do next? What's the plan?
You're like, what focus?
So I did not hear that. I think that was my body. I think my brain shut down. We don't need to register this information. You're going to be fine. And Neil only told me once it had all finished. And then that's what hit me the hardest.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, what the fuck? Like 2 years. So even that still plays on my mind. So I'll be coming up to January next year will be 2 years and that sort of stuff. But that whole thing, they keep pounding you with the information. I went, okay, we need to stop.
Yeah.
I said, I'm getting so overwhelmed right now. I said, what is the first thing that happens? And he goes, it's the chemo. Okay, I said, I don't care about radiation. I don't care about anything else. Let's talk chemo. Let's talk about the first thing I have to do. When we're ready to move on to the next one, that's when we're talking about the next phase.
Sure. Like step by step.
I said, I just want it blocked and so I can focus because, as I said, it's just bang, bang, bang in this wall and it's just, too much information.
Honestly, and I think that's probably one of the things looking back, if I could go back to the me at the start of everything like that, is instead of sitting there being like, okay,
dear listening
to the stats and what have you, just being able to go, all right, thank you for sharing. Now, step 1,
Yeah.
this, because I think I sort of did that in a way without even thinking with my dissociation. And, people would be with me and they're like, are you hearing what's happening? It's it's this and these are the stats, you're stage 3, grade 3 and this. And I just said, I can't afford to listen to the freaking stats. Like, yeah, I get that it's your job for you to tell me all of this stuff. And it's not like I'm kind of bypassing or dismissing it, but all I know is the power of my friggin' spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, while
the power of positivity.
Yes,
exactly. Like, I think
thanks
with the whole cancer journey thing, it's 90% mental.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can keep on that mental game, you've won.
Yeah.
Like the moment doubt, all those sorts of emotions come in, all the negative stuff. And I think I was also lucky with learning about the fasting before chemo.
Well, yeah, I wanted to touch on that because I think we all have a mini like chemo hack that we sort of had. And yours, you were saying, was the fasting, which really kind of helped with your sort of side effects.
Yeah, I had no side effects.
Wow. Yeah.
So that they would tell me
how many hours before chemo would you fast?
72 hours.
Okay.
So 3-day water fast before chemo. And because they'd give you your times. So the first actual chemo. So what actually happened was I read the book Fast Like a Girl because I said to my oncologist, I'm like, you can kill cancer, but can you fix my hormones? He's like, no, I can't do that. Yeah. I said, okay, I may go and get a integrative naturopath. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but if I don't get my hormones fixed, I'm going to come back again. And I said, the next time I come back, you guys are going to give me an expiry date.
Yeah.
I said, so I need to get my hormones
in check
yeah, for me to beat this as well. So you do you.
Yeah. I'm going to do me.
I'll do me.
Yeah.
He's like, yep, not a problem. Go for it. So I got the book Fast Like a Girl, was reading that, and one little segment in that. Now, I didn't, Google loves to listen, and then you talk about it and then all of a sudden you get bombarded with it. So I read it. I didn't tell Neil. I then just went to my group online and I just said, look, I've just read that they said even if you did a 13-hour fast, so it was what do they do when they research? Just a 13-hour fast can cut a reduction by 65% as a breast cancer recurrence. Just 13. So that just means you eat dinner, you never have dessert. You wake up, you have your morning breakfast, done. So like, okay. And in that book, it talks about healing the mitochondria. So my husband also loves Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
So Neil didn't tell me this, but he's been listening to Jordan Peterson and the mitochondria. In the background. He's doing his thing. I'm reading my book that talks about fasting and healing the mitochondria and all this sort of stuff. And I was like,
for those that didn't do science at school, mitochondria are the little powerhouses of the cell, and they're the little batteries of our cellular system. So go on.
So when they're damaged, that's where cancer can be caused with the damaged cells. So when reading Fast Like a Girl, you start to heal the mitochondria from about 17 to 24 hours into a fast. The one that blew me away was when you do a 3-day fast, so 72 hours and beyond, you actually give your body a complete stem cell transplant.
Wow.
So you regenerate new stem cells. So I said to Neil, so then read all that information. I popped it into my group and I was like, hey, what's your tips? I've been told I've got to have the AC, the Red Devil, followed by Taxol. What do you do to help with side effects and manage? Like how should I go into this? And this was about 2 days before I started it. And about 20 women responded water fast.